Hi everybody, welcome back to Lookouts. It occurs to me that a couple things. First off, last time I completely forgot to read off the content warning that's featured on the game's itch page, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. This visual novel does contain gun violence, including sound effects, gun death, blood, injuries, mild transphobia, discussions of racism and settler violence. Most of this stuff is going to be like towards the later portion of this read-through, but that is something to keep in mind if you feel like you will be affected by these things. Take care of yourself first and foremost before you watch these silly videos. Second of all, I noticed that the music was a little loud in the first part, so I've turned down the audio a little bit to hopefully make myself and my dulcet tones more audible over the soundtrack. Anyway, let's get going. Clambering down the cliff face, the shade of the valley is a welcome change after your long ride in the sun. The climb down is quiet, only a few grunts and gripes, a couple voices of concern from Joseph you quickly waved off. You both approach a wooden sign you spotted a little ways off, swaying in the desert wind. It looks relatively new, a board hanging on two chains, a word carved into the wood. Can you read it? It was only a single word, but you couldn't piece together quite how to say it. No. Well, I'm sure someone will tell us. You notice some familiar smells drift on the wind as a gust blows through the town past you. Tobacco smoke, whiskey, stewing meat from somewhere. It reminded you of the camp. Walking more into the town, you get a better look at the buildings that were just dots up on the cliff. There was a saloon at least, seemingly one of the older buildings in the town, as well as what you guessed was a sheriff's building, although the sign outside looked to be busted up. Everything else you could see from here seemed to be houses and whatnot. Leftovers clearly made by miners, not built to be sturdy or last long, but had been fixed up to be livable for folks. Clearly the people here like this place. And if they get a whiff of why you're both here... Alright, partner, I say we get given any evil eyes, we hightail it out of here. Ain't worth getting shot in a place like this. There was an if in one of those sentences. Sure thing. We got each other's backs, remember? You nod at him. We best get talking to people. Daylight's burning. Oh, here comes someone now. Sure enough, you see a short figure approaching you from the sheriff's office. You hear the pound of a cane on the dirt as they limp towards you with a vigor in their step. When they get closer and the haze of the desert heat obscures them less, you see a smartly dressed old lizard standing before you both. A cane in one hand and a metal flask in the other. Howdy, fellas. I'm Sheriff. Welcome to Clemency. A pleasure to meet you, Sheriff. He gave the lizard an expectant look, waiting for a name. My name is Sheriff. Just Sheriff, that's all you need. And what do you call yourselves? My name's Joseph, and my associate here is... He gestured toward you and turned to look at you, a subtle panic running across his eyes. You realize that he just realized you never gave your name. We're just gonna go with the default for this reading. Feel free to name him whatever you please in your own read-through. I'm Robin. Pleasure to meet you. You said this while looking at Joseph, resisting the urge to wink at him before looking back to Sheriff. So what brings you two to our fine town? We're just riding through, needed a rest stop. There a problem with that? Joseph nudges you with his elbow a bit. Glancing at his eyes, you can tell he's saying, "Don't be so rude." No, not at all. I'm just the closest thing we have to a welcoming committee, and it's always nice to see some new faces all the way out here. How long will we be staying? The saloon has some rooms if you'd like to stay the night. That's an awful kind offer, Sheriff, but we'll be gone before nightfall. At least that's the idea. Maybe we'll like this town so much we stay. Joseph and Sheriff both chuckle, and Sheriff sighs. Yeah, well, you boys let me know if you need anything else. I'll be at home, most likely. Will do. Yep. With a tip of the hat, Sheriff turned and started walking back to the building at the end of the road. With the lizard out of earshot, Joseph turns to you. So, partner, what's our plan? You look around the town for a moment, surveying the handful of people walking about, talking to each other around their houses, taking in the warm wind blowing past you with a deep breath. We get talking to folks. And what, they just run their mouth about all the gold they found? No, but I reckon a town this size, if they've struck something, there'll be a buzz about. We ask them about themselves, about the town. Someone will spill sooner or later. Alright then. Well, I got a pretty good peep at the place on the way down. We got a saloon just here, we got some sort of town hall over on the far side, and we got a sheriff's station at the end of the road by the looks. Where to? I'll let you ponder that while I get a drink of water really quick. It's kind of difficult doing like 7 different flavors of cowboy accent, but I'm doing my best. The saloon's nearby, let's do that first. Let's check out the saloon. I reckon if anyone knows anything about these rumors, it'll be in there. Alrighty then. Walking through the doors of the saloon, you're hit with a very familiar smell of tobacco and alcohol hanging in the air. Excuse me. A couple patrons drink and talk quietly in the corner, not taking any notice of you two. You see a dozen or so tables, and looking up, there's a second floor with the rooms Sheriff mentioned. Howdy there! Your attention is grabbed by an excitable and friendly voice coming from a short bird standing behind the bar, who is now grabbing a couple glasses. My name's Bartholomew. What can I get you fellas? He started wiping the glasses expectantly, glancing between you both as you walked the few steps from the doors to stand at the bar. I'll get a beer. Alright, and you? I'll, have what he's having. Yep, coming right up. He set the mugs down and disappeared through a door behind the bar into a back room. I don't have any money on me, Joseph. Don't worry about that, it's on me. He pats you on the back with a big wing a couple times, but withdrew his hand when he saw you wince a little. Oh, sorry, was, too hard? No, you're fine. You hadn't winced from pain. You just weren't used to someone touching you. Like that, at least. Friendly-like. Bartholomew reappeared with 2 glass bottles, tipping them into the mugs with satisfying glugs before taking a couple coins from Joseph. Thank you kindly. You both take a sip. Joseph seems to enjoy it, but you find it a bit more bitter. You try not to pull a face. Not like it? You smile weakly. Not my thing. Same. Noted. He winks at you and you feel your cheeks redden a little. You both keep drinking while the bartender busies himself behind the bar. The saloon is quiet. The piano sits gathering dust in the corner, seemingly untouched for many moons, and suns technically. Wind whistles through a gap in the saloon doors, carrying the sound of desert insects. Slow day, huh? You look up from your drink and see he's looking at the bartender, who doesn't seem to have taken any notice. He glances at you both and realizes rather sheepishly he was being talked to. Oh, beg your pardon. Slow day? Nah, this is about the usual. Gets a lot more lively in the evenings when the sun goes down. Everyone comes here to take a load off. So you know everyone here pretty well then? Well, of course. Not exactly a big town. We're a pretty tight-knit lot here. Why is that? This is a mining town, right? These places usually explode with people. Well, I can't say I know much. He looks oddly unsettled by your question. How long you lived here for? He perks up again from whatever you said that troubled him, the brightness returning to his voice. Oh, well, I'd say somewhere close to 8 years. That's a darn long time. Yeah, I suppose it is. What made you stay? Never mind staying, how'd you even find the place? I've never even heard it till we stumbled past. Bartholomew's cheery smile dropped a little, morphing into something more wistful, like the face of someone looking at an old, now bittersweet photograph. You boys ask a lot of questions, don't you? You and Joseph look at each other for a moment, expecting the other to say something, but nothing comes out.
I don't mind. To give it a fair shake, this town ain't the most exciting. It's nice to talk to some new ears that ain't tired of my squawking already.
He gives a little half-hearted chuckle.
Well, I found this place because I heard about there being gold. Like a lot of folks, I was fixing to get my fill.
You and Joseph both lean in a little at the mention of gold.
My fiancé was running away from home, and I was going with him. We thought we'd go out west and make our fortune. Looking back on it, I get why so many called us foolish. I might have been one of them if it were the other way around. We had our hearts set on it. We followed the road by wagon, and it was damn tough. Hellish, even. Thank our lucky stars we made it here to Clemency on a wing and a prayer. That was when we really felt like we were foolish. When we got here, talking about gold, we almost got ran out of town. I don't know the details, but there was a lot of trouble here when miners ran this place. No one's been digging for decades now, but word hadn't traveled far enough, it seems, to let us know at the time. At first, sheriff told us to leave, didn't want no more of our kind causing trouble. But when sheriff saw how stuck we were, how we had nowhere else to go, how rough the journey had been on us, sheriff's nothing if not kind. Could see we weren't troublemakers, just wanted a better laugh somewhere.
Amen to that. He shrugged, like there's nothing more to it.
With the town's help, we gussied up this here saloon into something I can run, and the rest is history.
I'm glad y'all found something here.
Yeah, I can say that for sure. Clemency may be small, but it's something real special if you ask me.
So there's no gold here. Bartholomew leaned back against the shelves behind him, crossing his arms.
Not as far as I know. The mines are around here somewhere, but I've never seen them. This hasn't been a mining town for a long time, and folks here don't think of it as one. You do well to keep that in mind.
He tapped the side of his beak as if to say, if you catch my drift. Even so, I would be interested in the history of the town.
Afraid that well runs dry here, but there's others who have been here far longer than I have. You can always talk to Sheriff if you haven't yet. Sheriff made this place what it is today. Want to know something? That's the lizard to talk to.
Thank you, Bartholomew.
No problem, it's my pleasure.
Bartholomew stood up from his lean and stretched his back and arms a little. Slinging his cloth over his shoulder, he picked up a small clinking and rattling box before walking through to the back room. Daylight's burning. I think we best get going.
Agreed.
He stood at the bar and waited a moment while Joseph downed his beer. And then yours, too.
Hope you can hold that.
Aw, please. How little you must think of me. Only a couple beers. You should have seen me at the Long Branch and Dodge. Drank the entire gang under the table. You can't help but smile at his cockiness, unsure whether to believe him. You briefly think back on the times the gang had gone to bars. You were always told to stay outside. Don't wander off. A dog on a leash, waiting for master to come back. Staring into lamplit streets and hearing the braying crowds all around you. Drunken strangers enjoying each other's company as much as their liquor. At first, they told you it was dangerous for you to stray too far. Then they started telling you to stay outside after you'd beaten the teeth out of a guy in an alley who you knew had been staring at you. Couldn't have you causing them needless trouble.
Off so soon?
Bartholomew re-emerged into the bar, looking expectantly.
Well, don't be a stranger, strangers. You're welcome to come back later when the bar's more lively. My husband would love to meet you both.
The casual lilt of his words caught you off guard, and you think you see Joseph stumble a little. Failing to get any words out, he just tips his hat, and you both leave the saloon, stepping back into the dust and dry desert heat. Alright. I think that's enough for right now. We will pick back up with our investigation of the town of Clemency next time. And I gotta do some laundry anyways. I've been putting that off for too long. So I'll see y'all next time. Later!